Hello everyone, today I'm in Mumbai, India, one of the largest cities in the world and home to over 23 million people. And if you think that sounds like a lot of people, that's actually less than 2% of India's total population of over 1.4 billion. And it's really very remarkable how one single country can have over a billion people. And here I thought the US was overcrowded. The country of India has over 4 times the population of the United States. Going for a walk in Mumbai. Before you go out walking, there's a couple important things to keep in mind. The first is that there won't always be sidewalks, or where there are sidewalks, oftentimes people will have their businesses set up like they do here, or they'll also just use the sidewalk for parking, which means that the pedestrians will then have to share the street with cars, which can be rather hazardous as there's not always that much room. Like right here, you got people double parked, and then you just hope no one's really coming behind you. And then that will kind of lead to my second point, is that there's really not that many traffic rules here in India in general, as far as I know. I've certainly seen like people run red lights. To have a red light, it's more of a suggestion as opposed to a law to stop. And that's just one other thing to keep in mind, is that not everyone will follow the few rules that they do have here.
And something else to be prepared for when visiting Mumbai is to see a lot of stray animals. Even at the airport, there are a lot of stray dogs. So if you're an animal person like myself, this will likely bother you. And I know whenever I see a stray dog, which is quite often, I want to do something to help them, like either give them water or food. But there are just so many strays that it would be nearly impossible for one person to help them all. So that's just something to keep in mind when you come here, just to at least try to block that part of it out. And in general, all life here in India is considered sacred to the Hindus. But the thing is, though, the real life situation today is that it's not unusual to see just a lot of suffering for not only just the animals but also the people, as there's a lot of poverty here in this country. And for the animals, it seems like some animals, such as cows, do get better treatment than others, though even it is still not unusual to see cows eating trash, or, like I said before, even people eating trash. And there's just a lot of trash in many of the public areas, though even this can vary quite a bit block to block. And in the nicer areas, typically near a temple or say a popular franchise such as at this McDonald's, the resident cow appears to get fairly good treatment, which is what they want tourists or foreigners to see. But of course, you don't have to go too far to where there's just really bad abject poverty. And then there's something else different about here in Mumbai, the smell. In the 3 days that I've been here, there has been a continuous smell of smoke, and it almost smells like burning plastic. It's just something that's really hard to get used to, and at times it's made me feel a bit dizzy, especially when I'm outside doing activities like walking. And you will likely notice this, so if you have asthma or any allergies, just be prepared for that as well. Also, as a tourist, expect to be asked for money a lot from beggars, as there's a lot of poor people here in India, as I said before. And most of the people here, they view foreigners as being rich, and even the little bit of change you have in your pocket can make a big difference in someone's day. Most of the time, the beggars, they just only want a nickel or a dime, which is really all it costs for some of the street foods. And as a tourist, if you do insist on sampling the street foods, keep in mind most of the food stands do not have refrigeration, and temperatures here in Mumbai are pretty much hot year-round. And it's not unusual to see cartons of eggs sitting outside in the sun, or even fruits and vegetables that will also spoil faster in the heat. So just be careful to check the food that you buy as closely as possible. And for the most part, I've been skipping the street food scene, as food at the franchise restaurants, such as at McDonald's, is relatively cheap. Say a chicken sandwich meal, just the sandwich itself is only like $1.25, so that's quite a bit cheaper than the prices that I'm used to in the US. And it's probably still a good idea to drink only bottled water, as even in my hotel, which is right next to the airport, at times the tap water has been discolored. And if you wonder what the conditions of the local rivers are, this is just one river just down the street from this marketplace. And even here, I seriously doubt any human would drink from such a water source. The problem is not so much where they get the public water from, as it's usually piped in from great distances, but the city infrastructure itself is typically older, and at times raw sewage has been known to enter leaky water mains under streets and buildings. So oftentimes the color of the water itself can help you tell if there is a potential problem. And even at a fast food restaurant, I still would not suggest consuming things like fountain drinks. Maybe coffee is okay because the water is boiled, but say things like a fountain soda, they do still use tap water to make the soda or juice. So I would skip that and only drink something that's either boiled or canned soda, or bottled water is the best. And yes, the water is supposed to be filtered at many of these restaurants, but I've just seen so many simple things not being done here.
Snacks at the train station. A coffee here is about 12 cents, or a orange juice is about 7. And then for food, they also have sandwiches for 27 rupees, which is about 35 cents. So they have some pretty cheap food here. Why is taking an Uber in India a scam? The reason is because the price the app will quote you is usually much different than what the driver will expect. For example, right now I'm at the Andheri train station, which is about 3 miles from the Mumbai airport, and on the Uber app it's showing that a one-way ride in one of these tuk-tuks is 183 rupees, which would be about $2 US. And of course that sounds like a really good deal to go 3 miles. However, the driver is, first he's going to be asked to be paid in cash, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of taking an Uber. And the reason why they want to get paid in cash is because they could basically charge whatever they want. And I've never been able to take an Uber ride for that cheap, for just $2. They're usually going to want at least double that. And in general, it's not that much money. You know, I mean, an extra $2 for a 3-mile ride, but I've heard kind of horror stories of people being charged, you know, just crazy sums of money. So if you do still want to take an Uber when you're in India, the thing to do is to always double check with the driver that the price that you have matches what they expect to get, and then that way there's no confusion or whatnot when you get to your destination. And this is my first Airbnb apartment in Mumbai. It is a rather basic 1-bedroom with a little kitchenette. However, I want to start out by saying that there's a couple of kind of strange things about this apartment. And the first one is that even though we're on the 3rd floor, every window has these rather heavy duty bars on the outside, and I'm not sure if those are there to keep people out, or I'm almost thinking they might be to keep people in here. And the reason why I think that it might be kind of like a situation where to keep people in is because in the hallway leading up to the apartment, there's some rather heavy duty, strange looking doors, and I almost think at one time that this might have been maybe a hospital, like a mental hospital or some sort of a jail. I'm not really sure. Anyhow, I'll get to that in a little bit. And then here is the kitchen. It's a pretty basic little kitchenette. It has a refrigerator. And then this machine up here was explained to me that it's a water purifier. However, I have not used it just because the bottled water is so cheap. And then it has a little stove, and I just haven't used any of this stuff here yet. And then in the back is a bathroom. And what's kind of odd about this is the shower is just basically on the floor with a drain there in the corner. And then there's a bucket, and I'm not really sure what that bucket is used for. I just have not been here long enough. And the hot water situation, it's just kind of warm water during the day. And I think that's probably because they're using solar heat. Gassing up your car in Mumbai. The price of gas at this station is 112 rupees per liter, which works out to approximately $5 per gallon, which is rather expensive considering how cheap almost everything else is here. However, that does not seem to have discouraged the drivers any, as it's a rather busy day at the station for both the cars as well as the motorcycles.